It is Thursday, August 21st. I'm meteorologist Marcus Bailey. Good to be with you here. Hopefully, you're having a great week. Weather pretty quiet over much of the United States, which is kind of leads us to the big weather story, which is Hurricane Aaron, which is out in the Atlantic. Not creating big problems, although there's been a few minor issues along the Atlantic coast. We'll talk about that. I did want to start with just radar in general and what we're looking at as of the mid-morning hours on August 21st, this Thursday. Showers and thunderstorms up in the northern plains. There's a few clusters in south central Texas. You can kind of see the leading bands of rain, the outer bands, I should say, of rain from Aaron on radar there. That's over the Atlantic. And there's actually even a few little blips of rain right now in the desert southwest into Arizona, where the heat is now kind of really retreated back here. So let's kind of walk you through the forecast. I'm going to go ahead and start with Aaron. And these are the current stats on Aaron as of 9 o'clock Eastern time. 105 mile per hour winds. That is good enough for a Category 2 storm. Movement is now turning to the north and northeast at about 17 miles per hour. It's starting to kind of pick up the pace just a little bit here for today, and is expanding a little bit. And so you're getting a lot of cloud cover. We've had some pretty gusty winds in spots up and down the Carolinas and into Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey. Now you're kind of getting closer to the New England states. It's going to kind of get the worst part of this storm. Not much change in the track. It's about the same. It's been very consistent. Model's been really consistent. It's going to stay as a Category 2, I think, for the rest of the day today through tomorrow. Probably starts to weaken by the start of the weekend, Saturday, as it gets over cooler waters in the North Atlantic, and then kind of takes a hard turn even farther north, and that's going to send it way out to sea, cooler waters, and that's going to be pretty much the end of that when it comes to Aaron. Looking at, let's see, the tropical storm outlook here. These are still tropical storm warnings. That's for Carolina, Virginia, parts of Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, all included in that. Goes into central New Jersey, and then once you get into, say, Long Island, they've got what are considered gale warnings. They have high surf advisories, all associated with Aaron. I think it's going to be far enough out to open water that while it will be a little choppy in New England, you may not have the higher wave heights that they did see at times along the Carolinas. I think it did. We saw some early in the morning that got up to as high as 15 feet along the Outer Banks. So, I mean, that's a decent size. That's kind of, it's dialed back a little bit. Our projections are kind of going as high as maybe 13 feet up, say around, Rhode Island. That's where my marker's at. It's a little bit out to sea. So that's not necessarily right on the coast of Rhode Island. Massachusetts, again, when you're getting in that green area, you're probably less than 10 feet. So that's why there probably isn't quite as much of a concern here. Let's talk new development before we kind of get into the lower 48 forecast here. Something to watch. You've got this area here in just basically behind Aaron that's going to have a good chance for some tropical development over the next 7 days. 70% chance that you're going to see at least kind of this area here pick up on at least turning into some tropical storm development. Now, from some of the models that we've been looking at, the projections, even if it ends up becoming a named storm, actually makes it having a harder turn to the north than what Aaron did, which would also keep it well away from the East Coast and less impactful than Aaron, which Aaron at least had some indirect issues there. There's also about a 40% chance in that orange area of development from that wave in Africa. So tropics are definitely active, all right? So it's something that's worth watching here as we go over the coming days. All right, let's go ahead and switch over. I want to go back to kind of the national look. We showed you, radar, and this is cloud cover, so you can see the the spin of Aaron there above my head. And just some of these thin clouds. Had some storms out in the south, down to the south, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Last night, it's part of that cold front that rushed through the Midwest on Tuesday and brought a significant cool down to much of the Midwest. And the pattern now is officially kind of flipped here. This is where we are headed. Let me start this at a different time. I'm going to start this now. We'll go to the end of the week. And so what you're seeing here is, I'm going to do a little drawing. So you've got a little dip right here, right? And that is allowed for a bit of a cool down while you've got this area of high pressure out here. This is our hot dome. And that has now been kind of pushed back thanks to some of this cooler air out in the Midwest. Now, that was just kind of one shot. Look what happens on Saturday night into Sunday morning. A lot of blues coming in here. This is a tremendous trough that is digging through right here, okay? And so this is much, much cooler air that's going to be settling in across the Midwest. And it's going to take our high temperatures about 10 to maybe 15 degrees below average. And it's going to dig, even though it doesn't look all that cool down along the Gulf Coast, you will see relief. I know it's been steaming hot the last several days, weeks. You're going to get a little bit of relief coming your way by Sunday into Monday. Places like Birmingham likely will have numbers that have been in the 90s, well into the 90s, back into the low and mid 80s. So it's going to be a bit more comfortable. Meanwhile, Midwest, where we're located here, highs into the 70s and maybe mid 70s in that. And what's something else that's going to be interesting is the overnight lows could fall to the 40s in some spots. This is the GFS extended and kind of just taking you through. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Friday highs will be in the mid 80s. You're still going to be pretty hot in Nashville, Tulsa. You still have that heat dome, 90s there. I think Saturday, again, you're talking mid 90s and still pretty hot south of the Ohio River. But then again, look at Sunday. Sunday is mid 70s. Now, I know you still have, some pretty intense heat out around Tulsa. And that's probably going to be the case. You're out in the Central Plains, kind of on the outside edge of that heat bubble that's going to be kind of confined to the desert Southwest. Monday highs may only make it to the lower 70s, which, by the way, 72 would be more of a typical high at the end of September or early October. So just to kind of put that in perspective, highs into the mid 80s around Nashville. You do see some hot temperatures into the Carolinas. And then overnight lows Tuesday morning into the 50s. And highs only in the 70s, maybe 60s up north. I mean, look at Green Bay and Chicago. And then overnight lows Wednesday morning may get as low as the lower 50s and upper 40s. So that's going to be kind of a much cooler start to this forecast here. In terms of severe weather, not much. For your Thursday, you've got a very small area in Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota. That's a low-end threat, marginal risk for severe weather. Damaging winds, maybe a few hailstones that would reach severe limits. And kind of the same area for Friday, Nebraska, South Dakota, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. And lastly, the 7-day rainfall. What you notice is there's just kind of this big donut hole, basically, around the Midwest. Illinois, Indiana, central western Ohio, northern Kentucky, no significant rainfall, no measurable rainfall here. So we're going to be running dry. Wettest spots are going to be out to the Central Plains and Central Rockies, New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, and the Panhandle of Texas, that area in red, 3 to 4 inches of rainfall over the next 7 days. All right, I'll do it for this webcast for this Thursday. We appreciate your time. We always appreciate the shares, likes, and comments as well. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. We'll have more updates coming your way over the next several days. Have a wonderful Thursday. We'll talk to you soon, and God bless.